Today, I would like to talk about something that has shaped my life and helped me living life in a much more relaxed way, and just feeling good, all things considered. Um, and it's complaining. Um, as humans, we tend to complain quite a lot. And we also like to blame others. Let me explain. I have some notes here, so if I'm looking down, it's just because I don't want to miss any important point, even though I want this to be kind of a chat, which I'm happy to develop in the comments and make further videos on the topic. There's obviously different life situations. What I mean by that, I mean some people are affected by certain things, some others are affected by other things. In my life, especially since I was 16 years old, I started losing friends. I lost a very good friend when I was 16 to suicide. And this probably shaped, the rest of my life. I often believe that what happens in your teenage years is really kind of making you the person you will be in the future. And one thing I'm forever be grateful to is martial arts, Kung Fu, which I started when I was 13 and only did for a couple of years, unfortunately, due to some injuries. And then freediving, which taught me at a very young age to be very focused on the present moment, as well as positive. You can't afford to go 30 meters underwater on a single breath, be negative, and think about the future. You have to be positive and you have to focus on that moment. Otherwise, you're going to want to breathe like everybody else. So different life situations. Somehow I put myself into certain situations, such as losing friends. I got into base jumping when I was 23 years old, and that was in 2011. And I've lost over 40 friends since. I've lost all my grandparents, not to base jumping, obviously. Many other relatives, and I lost my wife to cancer. And yet, I rarely recall myself complaining. So I'm not judging or saying that when other people complain about smaller things, they're bad or they should be living more in the present or whatever. Everyone has its own things happening in life, and that is extremely important. And I genuinely believe that everyone should focus on their own things before trying to help others. And I will soon get to the point that many of you are not going to like, but to me, with my experience, and I feel like if I wanted to complain, I would have enough reasons to. I feel like I can give you something. I would say that this video applies for most people that leave a normal situation. What I mean by normal situation is if you're living in a country that is affected by war. Let's say you're in Ukraine, you're somewhere in Africa, you're somewhere where there's an active war, and it's a different situation. You don't have all the tools and, techniques or even the time or the real focus that most people in a regular situation have. So this is for regular situations. I often say, yes, I lost my wife. It's the worst possible thing that can happen to you. We didn't have kids, so I don't want to say that's worse than losing your kids. Like, I just don't know. But to me, having lost so many friends, like having lost my wife, it's more than all of them combined. But I often say, imagine being in a war zone. They bomb your house and you lose your wife, your kids, your pets, and you're the only survivor. And you can't go to a psychologist. You don't have friends to talk to because they're dead too, and you don't even know if you're going to be dead. So that's what I mean by a non-regular or normal situation. But if you are in a normal situation or regular environment, and you're complaining about things, chances are that you are the problem. And trust me on that one, it doesn't matter how much shit life throws at you. It all goes down to you. And this is the part that you're not going to like, or most people are not going to like. Chances are that if you're still watching this video, is because you do want some sort of change in your life, and hopefully you're willing to take action. And that action has to come from yourself. You are the one who's in control. There's this misconception and wrong belief that someone else should help you. Now, don't get me wrong. Help is extremely important. Could be a family member, could be a pet, could be a psychologist, could be a colleague. It doesn't matter. Help is extremely important, and I urge you to get help. But that is the point. I urge you. Do not expect people to come falling on your feet and be there for you and trying to help you. When I lost my wife, I don't know, I've gotten maybe 300-400 messages or more. And all of them were the same. The meaning was there, but then the actions were missing. A lot of people be like, I'm so sorry. If you need me, I'm going to be here. And I know that life gets in the way, but when you ask people for help, chances are that a lot of these people will not be there. I had the situation where someone who was very close to me many years ago was like, oh, I'm going to come and visit you on Thursday. I was like, whoa, that's very nice. I was like, thank you so much. Never heard anything back. Never seen her. And I'm fine with it because, again, life gets in the way. Everyone has its own things. I will never be mad at a friend for not being there unless I took action, unless I sat down and talked to that friend and said, hey, once a week, please check in with me. Ask me how I'm doing genuinely. And can you please be there for me for 15 minutes a week? So if you've done that and the person agrees and then they don't show up, then it's getting a little complicated. But you need to create your own little network, because out of these 400 people that are going to text you and wanting to help, and I'm always going to be there for you, there's going to be 4 or 5 that really do that. And the rest is just life getting in the way. It's not them being bad friends. It's maybe they're not even really friends. You used to be friends and they feel like they need to talk to you, but and let you know that they're there. But it's, again, don't ever judge your friends or your family or people that should be there for you, because it's entirely up to you. And this is the point that I wrote down here. You need to take action and you are in control. There's also this belief that if you go and see a psychologist, a counselor, that you're going to feel so much better afterwards. No. They're just like an Ironman coach. I'm an Ironman coach. I can coach you. If you don't do the work, you're not going to complete your Ironman. You're not going to finish and respect the cutoff times. There's no cutoff times in life. There's no cutoff times in the grieving process. But if you go and talk to someone, they're going to guide you. They're going to give you the tools, but you need to put that into actions. I saw a psychologist 4 times after Laura died. And at the 3rd time, he asked me from 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst you ever felt and 10 the best you've ever felt, how were you feeling when you were driving here? And I said, I don't know, like 5 or 6. Like, okay, good. Where were you when Laura died? And I said, I don't know, 2 or 3, because it was so unreal or surreal that I just couldn't comprehend. Then later I reached a moment where I was just down there on the floor, all curled up on a ball. It was a Sunday. And all I could do was crying. I had actual cramps and physical pain. My heart was aching, not from the loss, not from love. It was physically painful. That was the lowest I've ever been. Even the dogs were just kind of here on the couch looking at me as in like, what the fuck, dude? That day I went to the swimming pool and then I went running. And as I came back, I was feeling like a new person. I took action. I could have stayed on the ground and complained and cried. That was my one moment in life, if not 0. But I took action. I got up. I could have sat here and watched TV and drunk beer. But I got up, packed my stuff, got to the car, drove down to the swimming pool, did my swimming session, got out, went for a run, got back home, and I was back at day maybe just 3. But the point being, from the psychologist, you see, you're always going to have some highs, some lows, something in the middle, but that is always going to happen. And that one thing that he told me changed my life completely. I knew that, but the way he put it down just changed me massively. So when it comes to people that complain and that blame others, stop doing that, please, and take action. Be in control and make yourself accountable. You have to call the psychologist, or you have to talk to a friend who recommends you to talk to a psychologist, to a professional. There's no psychologist that's going to come to you and say, hey, Marco, I heard, no. You have to get to that point. You have to put yourself into the situation of asking for help. You need to ask for help. It's not easy. I'm by no means saying it's easy, but you have to do it and you have to stop complaining. Laura got cancer after 4 to 5 misdiagnoses from the Aarau Cantonal Hospital in Switzerland. When we switched to another hospital in Lucerne, they were so clear that they messed up, and that was her death sentence. She might have said once or twice in 2019 and once or twice in 2022 when her cancer came back and killed her. She might have said a few times, a couple of times, why me? Why us? But she stopped there. She never said, why me? Why not Trump, Putin, whoever you want? She never did that. She was having chemo when her cancer came back. She could have complained about how bad it makes you feel, about everything. She looked at me, and that was when the war in Ukraine started. And she said, how lucky are we? And I looked at her, I was like, huh? And she said, imagine if we were in Ukraine. I'm having my chemo and you're here with me, and they bombed the hospital. So this is the mindset that more people should have. Stop complaining and take action. Also take some time to complain, because you're going to need that to kind of build up speed and take action. It's not going to come out of nowhere. It's fine. It's fine to feel low. It's fine to go down to that 1. It's fine to go down to that 2. It's fine to cry. It's fine to ask for help. But getting that low is going to help you getting that high again. Then you're going to have another low. It's guaranteed, 100%. So you need to stop blaming others. You need to take action and just try and live more in the present as well. This is, I would say, the last point for this video, because living in the present sounds so much like cliche, but it's not. We got to the point where when we were told that Laura was going to die, first it was going to be 1.5 to 2 years of good quality of life. Unfortunately, it turned out to be 3.5 months. But we also sat down and had a few things that we talked about. So, I mean, we talked about everything, but the things that I clearly remember were how lucky we were that we didn't have any regrets. And I don't know how many people could get to the point, because we're all scared of death. But are you scared of dying? Or are you scared of the fact that you never lived? I think this is key. Are you scared of dying, or are you scared of the fact that you never lived? So many people commented on the fact that what Laura and I achieved, even just in those 5 to 6 months before she died, is more than most people would do in their entire lives. So leave. Again, you have to be in a regular standard situation, but leave. If you get to the point where they tell you you're going to die and you literally have no regrets, our regrets were we never went to the movies, we never went to Zermatt in Switzerland. I mean, we did pretty well. And this helped me massively in my grieving process. Another thing that we did the day after we were told her cancer was back, we stopped asking each other how we were doing. As in, we said, if I ask you every now and then, just because I'm worried, oh, how are you doing? Maybe you were doing good, but by asking you, I'm putting you in a shithole again. So we said, let's cut the bullshit. Let's not, and that's one thing that Laura said, like, I have the easy way out. You're going to stay here. My parents, my brothers, my sisters-in-law, our nieces and nephews, your sister, your parents. So she always said, I get the easy way out. So you don't have to be strong for me. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to talk, talk. And so many people don't do that because our society is like, oh, you have to be strong. You have to do this. You have to do... No. None of that. You have to be strong. But sometimes being strong means being able to just let it all out. Cry. Back in September last year was one of my best friend's birthday. I was there. We got drunk, went to a concert, get back. I lost it. I was up in the room crying, and then she came over and she's like, what's going on? And I talked, and then her husband came up. I was like, well, what's going on? And that was the first time. Even though I went through all this good, in my opinion, grieving process, my psychologist called me a role model as far as grieving goes. That was the first time I ever lost it in front of someone. It felt like shit, and it felt so good at the same time. And that's what Laura and I decided to do on day 0 was when cancer came back, and day 1 was when we started taking action. And we said, if you're feeling bad, just tell me, hey, I'm not doing good. And then we talk. And then we try and be there for each other. And that was our approach. And so, stop complaining. Take action. Be accountable. Almost, I want to add the almost no one's gonna be there for you unless you ask. Because maybe they see you're doing okay and they think, yeah, okay, you're right. But ask for help. It's extremely important. I am not by any means saying in this video that you should deal with these things by yourself. What I'm saying is, You need to create a circle of people that are going to help you whenever you need it, whenever you ask, or ask them to check in with you. And that's not easy. But then also be accountable. Use my just cut the onion method. We loved cooking. I didn't cook for a long time after Laura died. One day I got the balls to do it. First thing you do, you grab an onion, you start chopping, I start crying. Because I remembered how good it was to cook with Laura. I did it again and again and again and again. And this became my just cut the onion moment. Just get it done. And eventually I started smiling and I see her smile. And I applied that to traveling, activities, going back to places that we love to go, doing things that we love doing. You know it's going to hurt. You know doing that thing is going to bring you down to that 2. Maybe not the 1, but down to 2. But do it 3, 4, 5 times. It's going to bring you back to a 6, to a 7, to an 8, to a 9. So, stop complaining. Take action. Be accountable. And just cut the onion. Hope this helps you. And let's continue the conversation in the comment if you ever get to see this video. And I might just do a follow-up video on that topic. Have a good one.